Hello and welcome back to Straight from the Training Ground, the podcast where we share our love for the beautiful game and the people out in their communities doing beautiful things. We're very happy to have the OVPL commish, Brandon Ponchak, back with us. Brandon, thanks for hopping on here with us. So, Brandon, just for anybody that's new, maybe out there, just before we get into we have some interviews around the league with various coaches. Give everyone a little update or just an overview of what the OVPL is and kind of what your inspiration was behind it when you started it.
Yeah, OVPL is an amateur league, high-level amateur league for players ages 16 and above, men's and women's. We have a men's league and a women's league. That's really started right before the pandemic. I mean, 2020 was supposed to be our first true season. 21 ended up being our first true season. So this is year 4 for us. It was started as a way to just continue to raise the level and give players an opportunity to keep playing locally. At a high level, and to push their development, to say that, hey, if you're in college, you're out of college, you're in high school, if you think your career is done, like it doesn't have to be done. You can continue playing. You can continue playing at a high level. You can represent your community, whatever that community may look like. It could be where you live at in terms of the neighborhood. It could be your high school friends. It could be your youth club that you grew up playing with. Anything. Anybody can really create a team and play, and it's done so everybody can do it. So we don't want the game to be restricted based on socioeconomics or demographics or locations. We want to bring it to you, and so your community, your friends, your families, soccer people have something to support locally, because sometimes that's just not available to anybody, and affordable
Sure.
as well.
And various communities, so.
Yeah, 5 states. We're in West Virginia, Pennsylvania, Ohio, Kentucky, and Indiana right now.
And that leads me to my next question. So over the last few years, the OVPL has continued to grow. You have a women's side now as well, correct?
Yeah, our women's side really grew in this last off season. We went from 6, 8 teams to up to 12 teams, 11, 12 teams. And we're able to split it into 2 divisions now. We basically have a river and a valley, just like the men's side, which usually breaks down to be an east and a west in this sense, to make it more easy travel. So players aren't spending hours and hours on the road just to play. They can play in their own backyard and travel to just a neighboring community and play there as well, instead of a whole region just spending a whole day worth of travel overnight, whatever it may be. You can just hop in a car or a van and head to the next city, and that's where a team's going to be, and that's how soccer's played around the world, and that's how it should continue to be offered here in the States.
Absolutely. So, Brandon, with that, we're going to have a few interviews here for everyone, a couple coaches from around the league, some updates on how things are going. So let's check that out. All right, and we're glad to have with us again Ryan Wall. Ryan, from the Highlanders, glad to have you back. Just tell us a little bit about the season with the West Virginia Highlanders. Give us a little update, and then we'll talk about what you have left in the season.
Yeah, it's been a really good season so far in the OVPL. We just got a really good group of players this time. A lot of turnover from the last few years, and kind of, I guess, refresh the squad. And doing very well in terms of our games and results. We were unbeaten up until last Sunday when we went up to Cleveland and played the Croatia Cleveland team. We're very strong. But up until that point, we were doing really well, and still doing well. I mean, a lot of this is how you approach it. And I think what we said at the start of the season is we wanted to be competitive in games, and we've been very competitive in games, winning 3, tying 2, and I think we lost only 1 now. So, and we're doing pretty well on the table, reflects that, I think. But as I said, I think you've got to kind of take a step back sometimes in the summer and understand it's about development of the players, creating a good atmosphere within the group, and helping them progress. And I guess if you do all that right, then you will get some good results in the field.
And I know in the past, your team's mainly comprised of college players, but you always kind of work in some younger high school players. Is that true again this summer?
Yeah, absolutely. We have I think about 4 or 5 high school players, the current high schoolers that are on our team. Actually, obviously, I'm from the Wheeling area. We have players from a bit further afield in West Virginia, some in Wellsburg and down in Parkersburg, and they're contributing to not just our training sessions, but they're getting good minutes in games as well, which is great. I mean, that's such an important part of what I think the summer league soccer is about. Is ultimately you've got responsibility to develop players and you only do that if you give them opportunities in game time. They've got to earn it, but we've had several that have been doing it and have just fit in really well with the college level guys in our squad, and they're enjoying it.
If you're good enough, you're old enough.
Exactly. If you're good enough, you're old. Love it.
So tell everybody a little bit, you're winding up the regular season. What do you have left right now for the Highlanders? And then leading up to the playoffs, tell everyone a little bit about how that works.
Yeah, so we've got 4 games left. We actually got a double header this weekend. In other words, we play at home on Saturday against Sporting Columbus, and I think we're away on Sunday up at Erie. Okay. Then the following week, we're over at Canton Force. And then the week after that, we play another Force team, strangely. 2 teams with the same name in the same club in the same division. Very weird. We play Columbus Force over here in Wheeling. Okay. Finish off the regular season. And depending on how those games go, I guess, we'll know if we're in the top 3. The top 2 teams go into a semifinal, a conference final, I think on the Wednesday. And then the winner will play in the OVPL final against the winner of the River Conference, the other conference on the western side. So that's the format. For us, it's just one game at a time. We're just looking at Saturday's game coming up at home here in Wheeling.
And real quick before we get you out of here, we appreciate the update. You've been in this for a while now. Is it 3 summers now with the Highlanders?
This is our 4th season.
4th season, yeah. So looking back on it, I know you got the Highlanders started, at that point in time. Now that you've done it for a few years, what do you think? What are some positives, some negatives? I know things have changed a little bit over the time you've been doing this because it's a different equation of players, guys coming in over the summer and stuff like that.
Well, we've got a good format the way we do it. We typically lock everything in terms of our roster early, about 2 or 3 months before the season starts, lock in the majority of our roster, and then fill out another maybe 5 or 6 spots right before the season. What I've really made sure we do is we keep that group together. I typically don't bring in guys that haven't been around for a game here, a game there, because I think it can be disruptive. No one's fault, just because you're bringing in new guys and maybe guys that put their time in and they see they're not getting the playing time or rewards for the effort they're putting in. So we make sure the group is together early, and also set expectations with the group as well, which is a big thing for us, is that make them understand that it's not all about winning the league, or it's about just putting effort and time and commitment into training sessions. And if you have that as the foundation, as the players and the coaching staff, then we'll all get something out of it. And that's kind of the way we approach things. And it just so happens the byproduct is we're in the top 3-4 in the division right now, so we're doing quite well. So, yeah, that's kind of the approach. I think as you're saying, lessons learned. Don't try and do this and go gung ho to win a championship because you can be disappointed. And it's not the most productive approach. So that's over the last 4 years. That's kind of where we are. We figured it out, I think, in that regard.
Well, congratulations on a good season so far. We appreciate you checking in here with us. And good luck with the Highlanders the rest of their season here, the remaining 3 or 4 games, and hopefully you guys find your way into that playoff spot and keep it going. So again, Ryan Wall with the West Virginia Highlanders. Thanks for taking the time, and best of luck to you guys the rest of the season.
Much appreciated. Thanks for having me on.
Now we have with us Mark Miriello from Sporting Columbus Women, one of the coaches on the women's side. Mark, again, glad to have you back with us here. Give us a quick update on the Sporting Columbus OVPL women's team and how the season's been going for you guys.
It's doing good. We have our group. We have a very large group. This is our third year in the league, and the group's doubled in size. There's a big need for high level training and for the women to get ready to go back to college. So I think that the only challenge we've had this year is just picking different rosters for the games. So we have so we have some inconsistency, but it's been good for all the players to get good meaningful minutes and get some good competition.
Nice. So is it the first year you've kind of done that with your team in terms of that large of a squad, kind of rotating people in?
Yeah. We had such a large demand for the OVPL group on the women's side. Took a lot of phone calls. It's hard to turn away players that are looking for again, good competition and good training environment with a lot of high quality players. So it's the first time we've had a group this large, but it's good. It shows the demand and the need for the league.
Yeah, absolutely. And as you said, this is your third season, correct, with Sporting Columbus in the OVPL. We see the table right there. You guys are having a pretty successful season. You have a couple games left, I'm assuming.
Yeah, we have two this weekend, home and away. We play Cincy SC, and then we travel to play the Hoosiers.
Very nice. And then on the women's side, we talked to Brandon Ponchak from the commissioner from the OVPL, and he was very excited to announce that this year the women's final and the men's final are going to hopefully be at the same site for the first time, which will kind of hopefully be a pretty big event, for the OVPL to have those at the same site on the same day. And I know that's a little bit down the road for you guys, but you're right in position there, hopefully to close out the season and maybe make that semifinal in the women's conference.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. It's always good, to try to coordinate the men's and the women's side together to show the importance of the women's side, along with the men's side, and it'd be great to put a lot of energy behind supporting that, and it'd be I know the women are excited to have the opportunity to have a postseason and get some extra games. And so hopefully we do well here at as we head down the home stretch, and we have an opportunity to participate.
Well, best of luck to you and the Sporting Columbus women. Anything else you'd like to share about the team real quick? Your upcoming games, anything else?
It's been exciting to see the growth of the league. We have more women's teams this year, and the overall quality is keeps rising, which is fun. Not only obviously to coach and work with the group, large group that I have, but also to watch the dynamic players on the other teams compete and play and get ready. It's been really good.
That's great. And again, if anybody tuning in right now, there's 2 divisions now this year in the women's side. So that's fantastic, shaping up for a good run into the playoffs. There'll be a semifinal, top 2 teams in each division, and then a final. And again, Mark, thanks for taking the time to hop on here with us and update everyone. Thanks for all the hard work you put in throughout the summer with the Sporting Columbus women, and best of luck to you guys throughout the rest of the season.
Thanks a lot, Jay. Thanks for all you do. Appreciate you.
Well, Bob, glad to have you with us. I know you've been in the league for a while. Why don't you fill everybody in a little bit on how ambassadors have been doing throughout the season so far in the OVPL?
Yeah, thanks, Jason. It's great to be here. Yeah, we've had what we would feel like is a very positive season so far. This is our third year in the OVPL, and we're happy and we're unhappy about where we kind of sit in the table. We let some results get away, but from the standpoint of the development of our club, I think we're a little bit unique in the league in that our men's operations, we're actually operating in 2 leagues simultaneously. Even though the rosters are separate from a management standpoint and a logistical standpoint, we have a little bit more at stake every week when we're playing. But yeah, we've been really, really happy with the results, and honestly, we've been really, really happy with the quality of competition in the league this year, and the way that it has gone. So yeah, everything so far has been a blessing, and great opponents, good officiating. It's been a really positive year so far.
Well, that's great to hear. And Bob, that's kind of been the consensus from some of the coaches we've had on here so far with our regular season update. They've all commented on the men's and women's side that the quality of play has been very good and that the league continues to grow. On the women's side, they have 2 divisions now. You alluded a little bit to the fact you have a lot of players. Why don't you explain a little bit about how you do that? I know you have a big pool of players that you use with
Sure.
ambassadors.
Yeah. So we tried out almost 120 players this winter in our winter tryout process. And so our emphasis has always been on our homegrown players coming through the club as youth players, and then the local and regional Division II, Division III talent, as well as the occasional Division I players. So the way that we have done it the last 2 years is that our team that we designate as an under 23 team has played in the Northern Ohio Soccer League, which we've been very, very loyal to, both from a management standpoint and a partnership standpoint. So typically our younger players, our players who are entering into the program, have been the primary makeup of that side. But this year, we had players who were at our first team level, our senior team level, who, because of life changes, job changes, internships, travel, and things like that, they made the decision that they wanted to be in a leadership role with our younger players. So even though they're designated as an under 23 team, we have a number of senior men's players who are playing with them, providing great leadership and depth for them. And then our men's first team program we've placed in the OVPL. That's made up primarily of our veteran players, our more experienced players, some of our players who are beyond their college days right now, recent graduates, and they've been able to compete in the OVPL. So we, from the standpoint of rostering, every player in that player pool, so all 58 players are rostered on both teams. So we have the flexibility to move back and forth. And so the last 2 weeks have been a great example for us. We've hosted 2 NOSL OVPL doubleheaders at home, but we also have guys who are traveling on vacation, weddings, and other commitments. And so we've had access to about 36 field players total in that pool, and we've been able to promote some players to the first team, which is a great reward for them for the work that they're doing in training. And we've been able to balance out both rosters to be able to do it. So so it does give us some flexibility. It is a little bit of a management issue, but our head coach Ryan Dean does a tremendous job in terms of management and managing the personnel. And my job is to keep the logistics going and keep the things behind the scenes going as well. But yeah, and from our standpoint as well, the commitment of our guys, we try to do everything that we do as professionally as we can with the resources that we have through the club and through the ministry. And so our guys are tremendously committed to that, and they recognize the work that's going on their behalf.
That's great. And it sounds, I love your unique kind of concept, how you guys have such a large player pool there. It's fantastic. And I'm sure it is nice to see some of those younger players come through and develop. So as we're getting into the last couple weeks here of the OVPL, looking forward, I don't want to, jump too far ahead, I know, as a coach, but what do you hope, to see transpire from the team heading into, hopefully that playoff picture and maybe even a final?
Yeah, the most important thing for us is that our schedule this year was front loaded in home matches. So so after this weekend, we will close out everything on the road. We have to travel to Youngstown to play SVA Project 24, and then bounce in the middle of the week to go up to play Spire in Geneva. And then that following weekend, we close out the regular season in Columbus. So 3 road matches. It's very much going to be a test for us in terms of our commitment and our ability to travel. One of the things that I think has become obvious in these leagues is that the teams who have the commitment to be able to travel with a significant roster and a deep roster, they seem to be able to garner the most success. So yeah, we need to try to look to take maximum points out of all three of those matches on the road after this weekend, and we're by no means looking over Erie FC. They are a strong side. They've competed really, really well, and we're really looking forward to hosting them tomorrow. So we respect everyone. We assume nothing. We don't take any points for granted, and so yeah, it'll be a tough road, but that's why we do it. And like I said, our guys are excited about it.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what it's all about as coaches, So, Bob, again, thank you so much for joining us once again here on Straight from the Training Ground. We appreciate the update. Appreciate all that you do out in your community. And, as we continue to here on our podcast, urge everyone out there to promote and support, the local soccer anywhere throughout the summer or any time of the year for that matter. And Bob, again, thanks for joining us. Best of luck to you and ambassadors throughout the rest of the season. And we appreciate all that you do.
No, thanks again, Jason. Thanks for what you do for all of us as well. We really appreciate it.
So great to hear from some of the coaches from around the league. We appreciate all of them taking some time. And again, we're here with Brandon Ponchak, the commish of the OVPL, the Ohio Valley Premier League. And Brandon, as we wrap things up here real quick, I'll put the tables up here, the league tables, and just fill everybody in a little bit as each team is kind of winding down to about the last, 2 or 3 weeks of the regular season. Shaping up the playoff picture, how the playoffs work in the OVPL, and the final.
Yeah, so what we'll end up doing with our two divisions, they'll play 1 and 2. The one winner of the regular season gets to host a semifinal game, and in the same division. So the River Division will play 1 and 2. Valley Division will play 1 and 2. That will be a semifinal. On the men's side right now, the semifinal is set for 16th, 17th. Of July, and it really comes down to the host venue and availability. The championship game for both men's and women's is tentative for July 20th, all depending on the availability, and we will release that information of our neutral site championship site, and we're hopefully going to finalize where the men's and the women's will be playing back-to-back at the same venue to make it a really fun soccer community day for the Ohio Valley on Saturday, July 20th, with a potential date as Sunday, July 21st, depending on venue, weather, whatever may take place here in a few weeks.
Okay, very nice. So if I hear you correctly, they'll be playing the same site this year. Is that the first time ever, correct?
First time ever. And this was actually the first time we've ever had a women's championship game as well, since we're now in 2 divisions on the women's side.
Okay. Well, very awesome. And so if you're not familiar with it, check out their website, OVPL online, on social media. They're everywhere. Same thing. You can find results, the league results tables, all those kind of things. And again, like Brandon said earlier, the OVPL is a great opportunity to go out and support local soccer. Obviously, this is a big summer, Brandon, like you and I were talking about, off camera, in the United States between, the Copa America going on right now. The European Championships are on TV. The World Cup will be here in a couple of years. MLS obviously continues to grow and become more popular, but, things like the OVPL, I think, are great out there for people because, there's still a lot of communities that don't have access very close to a high level of soccer. And, like we talked with all the coaches about today earlier, and as we have on this podcast in previous seasons, the OVPL presents, a good opportunity for kids and families in their communities to go out and see a high level of soccer. And maybe they don't have access to an MLS team, or an NWSL team, those kind of things. So go out, support local soccer in your communities. Check out the OVPL. And again, Brandon, thanks a lot for stopping by. And we wish the best of luck to all the teams as they're winding down the regular season heading into the playoffs.
Thanks, Jason. Appreciate it, everybody.
Check out our friends at Duke Brand FC for all of your coaching needs, notebooks, and more. Visit our friends at TractionSocks.com for your grip socks.